Hello, sir. Good morning.
Hi,
And
Ram.
I really thank you for being a part of this conversation today. We welcome you to UTL Academy's Gurukul series conversation. It's our privilege and honor to have you on board as a part of a mentor board. And I'm sure it's going to be an enriching and enlightening conversation that you're going to have today with us.
Sure.
So, sir, you have been a great personality in the corporate world. So I may take the audacity as a part of protocol to introduce you for our viewers and learners to know more about you. So Mr. Mahesh Shah is an engineering graduate from VGTI. He is an alumni of SPJN. He's also a certified financial planner. Uh, he's been a great span of career in the corporate world. Started his career with Crompton Greece. Moved on to working in companies like VIP Industries, Damro, Lifestyle International, Nitco, and home industry as such in retail has been his passion. He's currently handling the post of managing director in Praxis Home Retail Limited under the brand name of Hometown. Being a veteran in the industry, and I had the privilege of knowing him and working with him. He's been my mentor and also a dear friend. Overall, his hobbies lies in reading, trekking, and personal finances, guidance in personal finances. He takes keen interest in teaching people fishing rather than catching a fish and giving them to every day. So he loves to guide people and support them in terms of financial planning. And he mastered the art of creating next gen leaders, which is a big skill gap today in the industry. So thank you, sir, for being a part of our series today. And it's always a learning to have a conversation with you, and I'm sure it's going to be make a big impact for our learners, especially for my team in UTL Academy. So with your permission, if I may start the conversation.
Let's start, Ram.
Question to you, Mr. Mahesh, is what do you think about learning or training as a very important tool in today's skill gap and competence gap that we have in the industry, especially in the scenario where the youth and the experienced are trying to blend in together as a hybrid model?
Yeah, so I think on-the-job training, or as one would want to talk about it, is absolutely I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you come with a lot of theory when you pass out from a school or a college. I remember when I passed out from SPGN and I joined Crompton Greaves as my first job. And in the second day of my joining, my boss told me to unlearn everything that I've learned at MBA and start learning the actuals, the practical stuff. And over a period of time, I figured out what you were saying, and I did agree. So while your academics do give you a foundation, it gives you a base, but you need to do far more things in the actual world, uh, and the entire context changes because practical knowledge is absolutely of a different level, right? So I think on the job training or training and development, whatever way you may want to say it, I think it's a no brainer that it's a must. And I think what's important in that is the quality of training, the quality of content, and how you impart it. Because now with the technology at available in your laptop, in your lab, you can reach so many more people. Earlier, we used to have a few great trainers, and we used to struggle to get their time because we had people across India to be trained, and there were only a handful of great trainers, and asking them to travel to so many cities or getting all these people in one place was a logistical nightmare. But now with the new technologies being available, I think it's a few great trainers can reach so many more people. So I think you need to use the technology, but the crucial part here is that the content. How do you create the great content? How do you ensure that that's relevant and useful to the people who are imbibing that content? And you just need a great training. So yeah, it's a no-brainer to me that development is probably the most important part in business success today.
Sure, I completely agree with you. And the most important thing what he said is the what we used to do then. There's a lot of changes over the industry and the way of delivery and the methods today, and content plays a very important role. So I completely agree. Now, my follow-up question on that is, since you mentioned about digitalization, bringing in the e-learning part into it, what do you think about embracing digitalization as an industry, as a company today, especially the one which you are running? Do you think it plays an important role, or should we still have a mixture of both the old methods and the technology part?
I think that's a very interesting question, because I just had a experience of, I would say, negative side of digitalization when I went to my PF office to solve a certain issue which I've been facing in transfer of my EPF. And the team explained to me why they are completely bound by the way uh, the entire digitalization experience has been created in the PF office. And the issue which I'm facing is out of syllabus for the team which has created the digitalization. And that was
Sure.
not coming into the system, and they had no clue how to handle it. So digitalization does bring a lot of issues, in the sense, if you completely go by the SOPs, then you can fall into problem. And the PF office and the number of people who are lining up in the PF office is a great example for me to understand that unless you have thought through everything, uh, you need a combination of digitalization and the human experience itself. But there are so many more things which you cannot uh, anticipate, which could happen in the real
Yes.
world.
Yes.
So I think, but per se, digitalization is again the need of the hour. I think without digitization of your business, you really cannot function as productively or as efficiently as you are required to by the competition. So digitalization is absolutely a must. We have done so much digitalization in our own business. We have got Salesforce, which does a great job of lead management and ensuring that the right customer gets the right marketing message. Uh, SAP, to an extent, is a great digitalization tool. Again, it gives you entire enterprise-wise digital solutions. So you have great digitization anyway happening, uh, but you need to again temper it with human solution, because, as I said, not everything can be anticipated. You learn over a period of time, and that is why things like machine learning and artificial intelligence are also today coming into vogue, because they learn from the so-called exceptions or whatever happens in the real world. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would in short say digitalization is absolutely a must, but has to be tempered by the human intervention.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting what you said. So the moment I put in a bit of human angle into the technology part, so then the training becomes an important feature, because people who have been handling that in old systems, old school of methods, needs to also be equipped or trained with what is coming in new as a technology. Otherwise, the gap, that's where the gap, the experience that you shared, I think the gap is because of that. Because
Also,
people don't
one
know.
I would like to add something is digitization or digitalization. I think has a great role in the back end of the business. Okay,
Yes.
front end of the business, I still feel the human intervention, the human touch is still valued and will be valued going forward. I think the post-COVID scenario, where things have really changed drastically from everything being digital to people actually craving of human touch, and and offline retail actually bouncing back in a big way. I think just I'll say that a human touch is also required.
Yeah. So nice thoughts, sir, on that, both on digitalization as well as the training part which you taught us. Now, the most important question, which also is one of your interest levels, is on financial literacy. Now, what I see overall when I manage my business or travel around, I see there's a lot of youth now in corporate world or otherwise, but personal finances are a bit messed up. I mean, if I don't know whether messed up is the right word, maybe there is lack of clarity and there is lack of guidance, if I may put it that way. People are more interested in spending more rather than investing. Saving has always been a part of our culture, but I think the world, India as such, needs to move from saving to investing. So, on that, on financial literacy part, what would be your thoughts with regards to our youth, especially who are in working professionals now, with a lot of
Honestly,
aspirations?
I could spend hours talking about what's wrong with the way we are doing and what should be done, etc., etc. But okay, let me try to limit it to a few important issues. I think even my colleagues at very senior levels, they know how to earn money, but they have absolutely no clue how to invest the money. I was just sitting with a colleague a few minutes back. He's 43 and hasn't invested any money for his retirement or for any of his life goals. They seem to really want happy living, salary to salary, and not really caring or not really worried about bad times coming through, or what happens after retirement, etc. I believe this is a great problem facing all of us. While we may be earning well, I think the youth today earns much more than we used to earn in our youth. But I think there's a huge amount of lacunae in the education system, where we should be teaching them about investments, about life goals, about how do you How do you prepare for goals in terms of money? How do you prepare for your retirement? How do you prepare to take care of your parents, your medical, your health, these emergency funds? I think these are the things which people are not even aware of. Some of them are aware of intuitively, but unless formal education is imparted, I think you people will struggle. In fact, I just did a course on being a certified financial planner from FPSB USA, and the kind of questions which my colleagues were asking, and the kind of I would say lack of knowledge many of my colleagues had who were pursuing this course also told me a lot of things that, I mean, I was happy that they actually tried to learn something on personal finance, but I was a bit worried that they did not know the basics, e- even at the kind of age at which they were joining this course. So yes, there is a huge amount of lacunae. There is a lot of work to be done, and that's in fact one of the passions I have. I'm helping a lot of my colleagues, um, I would say, improve their financial discipline or financial lives. I think that's a huge amount of work to be done, and I'm definitely going to be a part of it.
That's an amazing thought, and I'm sure that people like you, with so much of experience and being yourself a great investor, or rather an informed investor, if I may use the word, I think
Yeah,
your guidance.
I'm a great investor.
Yeah. My follow-up question on that is that I have spent a lot of time with you in these topics, especially, and you've been a great guidance that I have taken from you, and I have done a lot of good investments after in conversation with you. At least my mentality has changed from being a saver to an investor. But having said that, when we travel around Bharat as an audience, let's say the rural India, from where we also employ a lot of blue collar workers in the urban cities, right? Now, there seems to be a huge gap in terms of the literacy level. So, my question to you is, you being such an expert, also being certified now, and your interest lies in it, would you like to make a change in terms of sharing your knowledge and expertise to this segment of workers who play a very major role in our lives today?
See, financial literacy at every level is a must, whether it's a blue collar worker or a white collar worker or a VP or a president in a company. It's a must. I think the amounts may differ from person to person, but principles cannot differ. They have to prepare for emergencies. They have to prepare for their medical. They have to prepare for their health insurance. They have to look at saving a particular percentage of the salary they get uh, first, and then look at spending the rest of it. So I think these principles remain the same across every level.
Great. So, if at all there is a drive which Utul Academy takes up, we also do a lot of financial literacy programs for a lot of NBFCs and banks, otherwise, especially in the rural India. Would you like to be a part of it so that we can take some of our
No, that
knowledge
goes
and
without
expertise?
saying. I think that's going to be my mantra of what I want to give back to the society. I mean, that's the reason I did what I'm doing. I mean, I was anyway helping a lot of people otherwise, but I wanted a qualification also, so that they also trust me better. And yes, it is one of my passions going forward. Yeah, so I'll definitely love to be a part of it.
No, there's some beautiful thoughts that you've shared. I'm sure it's going to help our learners and viewers entirely. My last question to you, which has been our favorite topic, which casually when we sit across over a lunch table or a coffee, which issue with the industry today, if you may agree, irrespective of the business that we're in, is the next gen leaders. And one of your interests, mentorship, which you have very beautifully transitioned over the years, which I have seen personally, from being a leader to a. And a lot of organizations are trying to get into that space, but some are getting it right, some are getting it wrong. What do you look at in terms of the next gen leaders who are in the crossroads of their career, let's say the midlife, or the young guys who are coming in, but well educated, well informed, but they want to make a career, and they directly start with senior management. What would you see in them so that they get that next gen leadership acumen correctly, so that the formula works right?
I think it's the theory of business evolution. The old has to ring out, the new have to ring in, and it's a part of growing up as a business, as a person. I mean, I still can't believe I'm 50 plus. I mean, I still remember my first job at the age of 23, and then growing and always feeling that this old guy who is my MD or my VP or doesn't know anything and talks about bullshit, etc., etc., etc. Because that was the young, I would say, the energy of the young, right? And I think we have to accept that the young are far more energetic, far more aggressive, and today far more technologically adept. than we veterans, as you keep on calling us. So yes, that is absolutely a must. I mean, every business, every generation is to evolve, every business has to evolve to the next generation. But what we so-called veterans can provide them a is a plethora of knowledge and wisdom. I think that's something which we have in abundance. We have gone through the ups and downs in life. I think the last 10 years we haven't had a meaningful recession, huge inflation in India. We didn't have a meaningful recession in India. The first time that people are now facing these recessions, seeing the inflation at its worst. So I think these are the experiences we've had, right? Because we've seen all this in the past. So this wisdom is
Yes.
definitely something which I think we should, and we must make it our priority to impart to these youngsters, so that they learn this faster, and they become far more useful to the business to grow the business in every condition. So yes, your role as you grow older in the organization and as you also grow in age has to change from being just a doer to a doer plus creating a team which can do better, to mentoring the next level of team and creating a new organization. So today at the level at the age or at the level at which I am, I think my primary goal is to create the new teams, create better teams than I could ever I was ever or I had ever a team. And yeah, just impart my wisdom. I have to be a mentor more than anything else today.
Your answer is well drafted, and well worded. So therefore, it forces me to ask one last question. I'll take your 5 minutes more, if you don't mind. Uh, One is the entrepreneurship word keeps coming in, especially post-COVID. You know, where the businesses are filled with professionals today, especially the young ones, and we being there with some experience, or people like you with more experience, we have somewhere mastered the art of entrepreneurship where we are self-sufficient, or I may use the word salaried entrepreneurs, right? Now, what would you, in your words, define about how do you bridge this gap? It's a very thin line between entrepreneurship and what we intend to do. But today, the only thing which seems to be working is that we have to figure out the new things and learn from our failures, and we should not be scared of failures. So, what would your thoughts be on that? What is entrepreneurship actually?
See, entrepreneurship, the way I have looked at it, and I've worked with Indian entrepreneurs across my entire working life, is a risk taking risks, or rather, I would even go a step earlier, sniffing out opportunities in the environment, taking risks, and being completely responsible for either the successes or the failures. I think if you take these three things, you are a complete entrepreneur. What we as salaried people generally feel is that when things go wrong, we have so many other people to blame. We are also sometimes quite risk averse. I mean, even today when I take decisions, uh, uh, my owner, Mr. Biani, may take decisions which are far different, and sometimes I may feel these are wrong. But then when I look at in the context in which the decisions have been taken, he is far bigger risk taker than I am, and I will always first try to see whether I can minimize the risk. So to that extent, you have a difference between an entrepreneur and an employee at every level, because the risk-taking ability of an entrepreneur is far higher, and of course, then the
Sure.
responsibility of the decisions also. Uh, I mean, the entrepreneur has nobody to blame. I mean, only him, right? Because that's his decision. So you have to learn that these are the three things, and of course, the sniffing out opportunities. I think that's, if you ask me, that is the biggest uh, thing that an entrepreneur brings to the table. I mean, as a salaried employee, you would just follow what he says, but then sniffing out opportunity that home could be a big business as early as in 2003 or 2004 when this decision was taken. I mean, this is something which only fantastic entrepreneur would be able to do. So yeah, so these are
Absolutely.
the three things I would say for an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yeah, and since you mentioned Mr. Biani, who also happens to uh, be the godfather of the parent company that we
Absolutely,
belong to, and also the
absolutely,
modern retail. Two things I have learned from him since you mentioned, one is resilience, and second is how do you sniff opportunities out of everything.
absolutely,
And that is
and
what
risk
pushed us.
and risk.
And risk, absolutely, yes. And therefore, one of our values is Indianness,
Yeah,
Uh, so and adaptability, which makes a difference. So therefore, on that note, Mr. Shah, thank you so much for your time. As I always mention, it's a privilege and an honor. You're a well-decorated guy. You gave us some time to have this conversation. It's going to help us immensely a lot, and also to the learners and viewers. So from
thank you,
Youthful
Ram.
Academy, my heart, thank you so much. We look forward
Thank
to
you.
have such more conversations like this.
Look forward. Bye.